You're welcome, candidates. My name is Teacher Hawa. I'm here to take you through the English lesson as usual. We are still looking at electronic media. So in the previous days, we looked at the vocabulary, we looked at a revision on conditional one, or first conditional, or what we call if one. We looked at a revision on if two, or a second conditional. Today we are going to look at a structure, the use of dash 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 and so dash dash dash. Now, this may also not be very new to us. We looked at it somewhere in our primary 6. What does and so mean, or when is it used? When is it used? When is this structure used? We are going to say the structure is used. The structure is used to connect. The structure is used to connect two sentences. The structure is used to connect two sentences whereby what happened to the person or the thing, whereby what happened to the person or the thing in the first sentence, is exactly what happened. Is exactly what happened in the second sentence. What are we saying, candidates? We are saying that and so is used to connect two sentences, whereby what happened to the person or the thing in the first sentence is exactly what happened in the second sentence. Why do we use and so in such a situation? Why do we use and so? Let me put this as a point. We use and so. We use and so to avoid repetition. We use and so to avoid repetition or repetitions. We use and so to avoid repetition or repetitions. Let's look at some examples here. Let's look at some examples. We want to use and so in these examples. Example A says the talk show was aired. The talk show was aired late. The sports show was aired late. So we have two sentences here. The talk show was aired late. The sports show was aired late. We want to connect the two sentences using and so. Why? Look at this. The talk show was aired late. The sports show was aired late. So, the common words are aired late, aired late. Now, we want to join the two sentences in order to avoid repetition. What will our answer be, candidates? What will the answer be? What will the answer be? Remember, we said that this one is not very new to us as well. So if you know the answer, you can please tell us what is our answer here. All right. Now, let's see if you have the same answer as the one that I'm going to write. The same answer as the one that I'm going to write. The talk show was aired. The talk show was aired late. The talk show was aired late. And so was the sports show. And so was the sports show. The talk show was aired late, and so was the sports show. This is our answer. If you have the same answer, very good. Very correct. Okay, this is our answer for example 1. This is our answer for example 1. Let's now look at example 2 or example B. Example B. Example B, what do we have? In example B, Jennifer bought a nice radio. Jennifer bought a nice radio. Moses also bought a nice radio. Jennifer bought a nice radio. Moses also bought a nice radio. What answer should we expect from here? We are joining the two sentences using and so. What is the expected answer, candidates? What is our expected answer? Jennifer bought a nice radio. Moses also bought a nice radio. What is our expected answer? What is our expected answer? Okay, let's see if you are thinking about the same answer as the one that I'm going to write. Jennifer bought a nice radio. Jennifer bought a nice radio, and so Jennifer bought a nice radio, and so did Moses. Jennifer bought a nice radio, and so did Moses. Now, one wonders why we've not written the word also in our answer. We've not written this because brings out the same meaning as and so. So we cannot say Jennifer bought a nice radio and also and so did Moses. Huh? So this one goes away because it carries the same meaning as and so. Now, there is something that may be bothering you. There is something that may be bothering you. In this sentence here they say, the talk show was aired late. We have the word was there. Here we have Jennifer bought a nice radio. This verb, we want to look at the verbs in the examples. Now, in our previous classes, when looking at verbs, we always looked at helping verbs. We have helping verbs. We also have what we call main verbs. What is the difference? I know many of us know. What is the difference? Just a reminder. Helping verbs are those words which help us to identify tenses according to the time when the action is done. Helping verbs are those words which help us to identify tenses according to the time at which the action is done. And different tenses have different helping verbs. So I'll write down some of the helping verbs here. Is, are, these ones are commonly used with the present continuous tense. Is, are, we have was, were for the past continuous. Normally we have has, we have, we have will, we have shall, and so on. Now the main verbs are those verbs which show the action. The action, like right now I'm speaking. Speaking. Now, speaking is a main verb. It shows the action that I'm doing. Jumping. Jumping is a main verb because it shows action. I am looking at you right now. That is a main verb. So some examples of main verbs, for example, eat, dance, sing, and so on. Now, whenever we are using and so, there is a rule that we must follow in relation to verbs. Now, when you look at this, the talk show was aired late, the sports show was aired late. We have a helping verb in these sentences. So if the sentence has a helping verb, it is that helping verb that we use in our answer. The talk show was aired late and so was the sports show. That is what we use. If there is a helping verb, you use it. Mary is singing. Janet is singing. We shall say, Mary is singing and so is Janet. That helping verb. Uncle will come tomorrow. Aunt will come tomorrow. The helping verb is here. In our answer we shall say, Uncle will come tomorrow and so will aunt. Now what happens if the question has main verbs but does not have a helping verbs? For example here, this one we have a main verb which shows action, a main verb. What happens to such sentences? Jennifer bought a nice radio. Moses also bought a nice radio. You realize that in our answer we are going to say, Jennifer bought a nice radio in the first clause. Jennifer bought a nice radio and so. Now after writing and so, we are not going to repeat this bought. But we are going to use a form of the verb do according to the tense in which the question is. Now this question is in the past simple tense, or the two sentences, because of this verb bought. So if the sentence is in the past simple, we shall use did. That is a form of the word do. So where we have a main verb, we use do, we use did, we use does. Where we have many people, we use do. The past, we use did. Where we are referring to one person, but in the present simple, we use does. Let's look at one more example. One more example where we are going to use that. In part C, we are going to say my father watches. My father watches akawungezi. My father watches akawungezi. I also watch akawungezi. Somebody will wonder what akawungezi means. Now, akawungezi is the name of the news aired on NTV at 7 p.m. So it is called akawungezi. Now, my father watches akawungezi. I also watch akawungezi. We want to join those two sentences using and so. We want to join the two sentences using and so. What will our answer be, candidates? What will our answer be? What will our answer be? You need to note that we have a main verb here. We have a main verb. We have a main verb, and we said that if we have a main verb in the question, we come here and use the correct form of do. Okay, so let me write the answer and we see if you have the same answer as well. So our answer will be my father will watch akawungezi. My father will watch akawungezi. My father watches, not will watch. My father watches akawungezi, and so do I. My father watches akawungezi, and so do I. By now, candidate, I'm sure I know that we cannot use does I here. So we say my father watches akawungezi, and so do I. That is the correct answer. And you realize that when writing our answer, we write the first sentence in full. Then where we've had a full stop, we replace with and so. Then we come to the second clause and pick out a few words that will not make a repetition to get our answer. Now, we are going to try out this. We are going to have an activity of a few sentences here where we are going to join using the structure that we have learnt. But I want you to remember, I hope you've noted down this, that when we are dealing with helping verbs in the sentences, is slightly different from where we are dealing with the main verbs. If we have a helping verb, we write it in that sentence and we repeat it. But if we have a main verb, we write it in the first clause, and in the second clause we use the correct form of the verb do, depending on how the question has been set. Okay, let us try out this activity. Let us do this activity. Join the sentences. Join the sentences using. Join the sentences using. Using and so. Join the sentences using and so. So, what is our number one? Number one says the boys were active. The boys were active. The girls were also active. Number two, we watched the weather forecast. then the last question. The last question says, both gospel singers and pop singers should dress well. Okay, so we have 5 questions there. We're going to do that activity till we meet again. Thank you.